Mhm.
Hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18's Digital Live. Now, Covaxin approval with the World Health Organization has been long overdue. The technical advisory group has sought for additional data from Bharat Biotech to conduct a final risk benefit analysis, as they call it, and only then they will give it an emergency use listing. Now, the next meeting and analysis will happen on the 3rd of November. But till then, what is at stake here? That's what we're going to discuss on this live. In fact, Bharat Biotech first had submitted its data to the World Health Organization on July 6th. So it's been a long time. Now, over 13 crore people in India already have been administered Covaxin, and some of these people who may want to travel out. Um, how difficult or easy will things be for them once it gets an approval? And of course, before the approval, at this point, joining me is Bhavin Thakkar. He's a student visa consultant. Hi, Bhavin. If I could ask you my first question, at this point, today's date where Covaxin does not have the listing with the World Health Organization, are there students that approach you? Are there students who want to go out? And what sort of difficulties are they facing at this stage?
So, as per the current scenario, the behavior of the countries would like to welcome the student. Um, they are accepting certain vaccines like Moderna, Oxford, Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson, but with the Covaxin, they are having some of the restrictions, like student has to be a quarantine for 14 days in Canada. So for this kind of arrangement, student has to spend lots of money. So this is the kind of big disadvantage uh, for students, parents, and financial position. So this is a thing, and it's expensive.
Yeah, yeah. So the additional cost that comes with that quarantine period of about 2 weeks is something which is a problem. Also, are students required to get an RT-PCR negative test before they fly out to these countries?
Yes, it's RT-PCR is compulsory for everyone, but the strange thing with Covaxin is like in UK, if UK student has to do RT-PCR by second day of reaching a destination, but if student are having if student has got vaccine Covaxin, then they have to do double RT-PCR second day and eighth day. So that is also kind of extra money, extra time, extra uh, bit of stress level. So this kind of thing students are facing due to this situation.
Well, do you think that you know it is a wait of probably a few weeks now before Covaxin does get a listing with the World Health Organization, because the final data which will be submitted by Bharat Biotech will be analyzed, in fact, by TAG, which is the technical advisory group of WHO. It's an independent body. But having said that, for now, um, is it a problem? Is it a big problem as far as students who have received Covaxin is concerned? And do you think that's a reason why many students are now opting to get Covishield instead of Covaxin, purely because of travel reasons?
Yes, actually, this is very much true. Students, even students who has got the Covaxin, they are also coming and inquiring us about if what if they'll take a second dose from Covishield, or so students are very much in dilemma. But I'd like to hear give statements that please don't worry about it. It's just a matter of a few days of quarantine. So if you're taken dose a first dose of Covaxin, then you please be stick with it, because there is no government accepting the valid second dose. you have to be with your dose and you have to follow some kind of compliances, but it's fine. It's just a matter of first few days. So if you're taken Covaxin, that's fine, but if you're not, then you can go for Covishield or any
Yeah.
other accepted
Yeah.
vaccines.
Also, Covaxin has received emergency use listing in about 14 to 15 countries already, and about 50 countries are in process. For example, Oman only yesterday announced that if you have got Covaxin and if you travel to that country, then you won't have to undergo a mandatory quarantine. Could you tell us some of these countries and by a process like a mutual recognition of vaccines, do you think that it makes travel easier in a post pandemic world?
Yes, once if means there are huge number of students and even parents who would like to meet their son daughter over there and like to travel as soon as possible to meet them. So if once this would be accepted, the there are huge population would be benefited through these action.
And as far as the listing with WHO is concerned, what more benefits will it give Covaxin once it gets an approval with the World Health Organization? Um, is it just about mandatory quarantine, uh, or will there be other benefits to it?
It's purely just about mandatory quarantine. Once if that would be accepted, there would be no mandatory quarantine, and people would be benefited from the some means in some of the location there is 7 days quarantine, some of the location there is 13 days or 14 days of quarantine, and it's an expensive task. So people would be benefited through this process.
But help me understand. Say, for example, if I have got Covishield here in India and I want to travel outside, do I still need to take an RT-PCR test, or if I have
Yes,
a vaccine
yes,
certificate?
yes,
Okay, so
it is
in that
mandatory.
sense, so in that sense, then rules for both Covaxin and Covishield here in India are the same. It is just the quarantine period. Of course, it will depend not from country to country how long that quarantine period would be. But of course, then parents as well as students who have got Covaxin who plan to travel abroad. Firstly, it's a matter only of a few weeks before Covaxin, and of course, keeping our fingers crossed, there gets an approval, a listing with WHO. It is TAG, which is the technical advisory group that is going to grant that license to Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. It's some additional data now which they are waiting. I've been given to understand, in fact, from Bharat Biotech that the data will be submitted to WHO very soon. And on the 3rd of November now. Again, it's a new date, but the hope is that if the technical advisory group is convinced with the additional data which is provided, the hope is that Covaxin can get that emergency use listing very soon. But it would be right to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Bhavin, that there isn't anything to worry about for several students who have got the Covaxin shot.
No, no, they should not worry about it because uh, there is no restriction straight away that you cannot come to the country, or there is specific border restriction for Covaxin. So please don't worry about it. You just be prepared for a few days of quarantine, and that's it. So please don't worry about it.
What else is at stake, if I can ask you that again? Till the time this vaccine, which is an excellent vaccine, which has a good efficacy, does not get an approval, does not get a license with the World Health Organization, what else is at stake? Not just for students, but other people who want to travel, say for job or just to travel outside.
So for like uh, s- these all countries having different set of criteria. Means like Canada till date, they are preferring, means their preferred list of travelers are student. But recently, after 6 October, they have opened their border for everyone, so for visitors as well. So it's they have different set of criteria and preferred list of travelers. So there may be restrictions, but it might be not because of Covaxin. So it's because of their own preferences. So means irrespective of any visa category, the Covaxin would affect in the same way.
Okay, all right, Bhavin, and so it really is, and I think also we've okay, we've got the connection back with you, Bhavin. But again, for all the students and parents who've been anxiously waiting for that WHO approval from for Bharat Biotech, for those people who've received Covaxin, there isn't anything to worry about. Firstly, there yes would be a certain mandatory quarantine period in a few countries which you have to abide by, of course, till the time the vaccine gets an approval from the WHO. But like I said, 14 countries, about 15 now, in fact, have already received emergency use license. For Covaxin, about 50 countries already are in process, and 3rd of November, again, that's the date given by the Technical Advisory Group of the WHO, and hopefully we keep our fingers crossed that Covaxin will get the approval very soon. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.